Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear student, today we discuss the topic balanced chemical equation from chapter 5 chemical reaction. The chemical equation in which the number of atoms involved in reactant side are equal to number of atoms on product side is said to be balanced chemical equation. We balance a chemical equation according to the law of conservation of mass. According to this law, matter is neither created nor destroyed during a chemical reaction. Therefore, the number of each atom of element must be equal on both sides of chemical reaction. There are some rules for balancing of chemical equation. Write the correct chemical equation with symbol and formula of a reactant and product. It is necessary that we know the correct symbol and formula of a reacting substances. Step 2. You need to determine how many number of atoms of each element are present on both sides. That if you know how many number of atoms of each element are present on both sides, then we balance it. Add coefficient. Coefficient are basically the whole number that we use to balance a chemical equation. For example, hydrogen molecule react with oxygen molecules to form water. Now look, how many number of oxygen atom and how many number of hydrogen atom are present on reactant and product side. There are 2 atoms of hydrogen and 2 atoms of oxygen are present on reactant side, whereas 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen are present on the product side. So the equation is unbalanced. Now we balance this chemical equation. We make a table. In the first column, element, hydrogen and oxygen, the number of atoms of reactant, hydrogen 2, oxygen 2, the number of atoms of product, hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1. Let's see. When we balance the chemical equation, first we draw a box around the molecules and formula of a compound, because during balancing it is not change. So oxygen atom on the reactant side are 2, whereas on the product side it is 1. So we balance the oxygen on a product side, we put 2, then the number of oxygen atom on both reactant and products become 2. But now what happened with hydrogen? We see that now they are 4 on the product side, whereas 2 on the reactant side. So for balancing hydrogen, we put 2 on the reactant side. Now look, hydrogen 4 reactant side, hydrogen 4 on product side, oxygen 2 on reactant side and 2 on product side. Another example, iron react with oxygen to form iron oxide. Elements are iron and oxygen. The number of atoms on the reactant side, iron 1, oxygen 2. The number of atoms on product side, iron 1, oxygen 1. So it is unbalanced chemical equation. First we draw a box around the molecules and atom. In the second step, count the number of oxygen on the reactant side, 2, product side it is 1. So for balancing oxygen, we put 2 on the product side. Now the number of atom of oxygen becomes 2. Now how many number of iron on reactant and product side when we put this 2 on product side? The number of ions on product side 2, whereas on reactant side it is 1. So we put 2 on the reactant side to balance the chemical equation. Now this equation is balanced. The number of atoms of iron on reactant and product side are 2, as well as the number of oxygen on reactant and product sides are 2. Hydrogen react with nitrogen to make ammonia. Elements are hydrogen and nitrogen. The number of atoms of reactant of hydrogen 2 on product side it is 3. The number of atom of nitrogen on reactant side 2, on product side 1. So it is unbalanced chemical equation. For balancing, first we draw a box around the atoms and molecule, because during balancing chemical equation it is not changed. So count the number of atom of nitrogen on reactant side it is 2, on product side it is 1. So for balancing of nitrogen on product side we put 2. Now the number of nitrogen on both reactant and product side 2. What happened with hydrogen? It becomes 6 on product side. So for balancing hydrogen we put 3 on the reactant side. Now count the number of atom of each element. Hydrogen 6 reactant side, 6 product side. two nitrogen reactant side and two nitrogen on product side. These are the some basics rules which we follow to balance a chemical equation. Hope so now you are clear about it. So at the end there is quiz for you, and this is the end of lecture. Allah Hafiz.